Alrighty fellas, now in today's video, we're going to be talking about a topic that I usually hate to talk about, but because of where my mind is at and the kind of, topics that interest me lately, I'm actually really interested to talk about this topic once again because of the nature of it. Now, I've been very vocal so far on the fact that I really hate talking about a lot of the mainstream sort of topics that are talked about in commentary right now, like Jack Doherty and Neon. But like I said before, I'm kind of excited to get into this one. It's about Neon in particular and his girlfriend, Sam Frank. Now, for those of you that don't know, Neon's been going through quite a lot recently. He's been quite sick and going in and out of surgery quite a bit. I think the internet thought that he was sort of trolling and sort of just doing all of that and tweeting all those things out about his surgeries and stuff for clout. But it ended up all being real because for weeks now, almost a couple of months, I think, he's been in and out of surgeries. He's not really been doing much content, and he's kind of just been asking his fans to pray for him on Twitter. Well, during all of these sicknesses and these massive surgeries that Neon's been experiencing, his girlfriend Sam Frank decided to do something that I think the entire internet kind of expected to happen eventually. All right, editing Buster here real quick. I don't know why, but for some reason I was brain dead in recording the intro of this video, and I didn't actually say what was happening in this situation. I don't know where my head was at, but essentially Sam ended up going on a snowboarding trip with a bunch of guys while Neon was in surgery. Slowly throughout the video, I sort of unraveled the situation, but I figured I would kind of jump in real quick here and just kind of like let you guys know what's actually going on, because I figured that was a chapter of the video that I sort of skipped over at first. Anyways, back to the video. For those of you that have been living under a rock, Sam Frank is somebody that's been accused relentlessly over the past 6 months or so for using Neon for his clout. Neon is somebody who's been blowing up for unexplainable reasons over the past year or so, and after he started to sort of gain his clout is when Sam Frank entered the picture as his girlfriend. Now let's be honest, man. Sam Frank is a good-looking young girl, and Neon is a not-so-good-looking young guy. So we can all kind of get a good assumption as to what that relationship really is at the end of the day, when all the facades are dropped and all the bullshit lies are kind of, out the window. But Neon doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to have any of it. As a matter of fact, I've even looked on his channel from time to time, and he's like all lovey-dovey with this girl, man. I swear to God, this kid's like in love with her, and that is heartbreaking to see, especially with what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Like I said before, he doesn't want to hear any of it, or at least he didn't want to hear any of it until the cold reality of how everything has sort of been unfolding behind the scenes sort of blew up in his face. And well, as far as the current rumors go, Sam Frank actually broke up with him live on stream after all of this took place. There were some texts that ended up going viral after this whole situation sort of started unfolding that Sam Frank had leaked on her own stream by accident, which is absolutely hilarious. Now, first when these screenshots started going viral on Twitter, we didn't have much context or really understanding of who this conversation was taking place between. Obviously, Sam Frank was involved in the conversation because it was on her phone, but after a little while, we found out that this was a conversation between her and Neon. At first, I thought this was her talking with one of her girlfriends or one of her, like, content creator mutuals or something like that, but the fact that it's Neon giving her shit for this just makes it all the better, and you guys will see why in just 1 second. So the text read as such: "Do not understand that snowboarding trip looks bad. I don't care if you're just there to snowboard. No one goes on a trip with guys while in a relationship. It's not even that I don't trust you. I didn't even know there was hella guys until just now." And she responded with some brain dead response that I can't even really make sense of. And I know people that text like this, and it's the most AIDS thing in the entire universe. "It's been almost 2 hours and no solution, and you won't even call me. It's so sad. I've been in a relationship before, and I know what it takes to fix shit. If you keep digging, of course, on something you already know the situation, so you don't even care about fixing it." Bro, you see what I mean? You just want the other person to feel the point that you did. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? This, like, what is talking and trying to actually have a productive conversation with modern women nowadays? I don't get it. Like, literally none of that made sense at all. And then she wonders why all of Neon's friends are calling her manipulative and shit. It's like, this is exactly why. Because consistently in public settings, you've just strung a bunch of words together that make literally no sense while trying to maintain a sense of superiority to everybody around you as well. That's quite literally what manipulation is. If you have no legitimate rationalization or basis in acting superior to those around you, that is 100% a blatant form of manipulation, and probably a little bit of narcissism as well. Alright, this is like my third take trying to do this, but I'm just gonna say it how it is, man. Fellas, y'all really gotta watch out for chicks like Sam Frank nowadays. These girls that will emotionally manipulate you and victimize themselves in situations where they were the perpetrators, they were the aggressors, they're the ones that caused damage, and then act like they're the victims in a way to get the upper hand. It's insanity. I'm a 21-year-old young man. If you're around my age, a lot of girls that you'll be interacting with are are like this. They understand the cards they've been dealt, and they play to that hand. They play to those advantages a lot of the time. So I'm just saying, man, be careful with these chicks out here nowadays, bro. And after this whole situation sort of started going viral over on Twitter, Sam Frank quickly responded to all of this, because in that clip that I showed you guys before where Neon was sort of looking sad and ended the stream, the context that Sam Frank gave to that clip was that Neon was getting bombarded with assumptions about everything that took place up on that trip. And quite frankly, I don't blame the kid for feeling sad and ending his stream after a situation like that. My mind would be all over the assumptions if I had a girlfriend and I all of a sudden found out she went on a trip with 4 or 5 dudes while I was in fucking surgery. And if I was someone like Neon and had even a little bit of self-awareness, I'd absolutely understand the implications of a situation like that. I don't think anybody's jumping to assumptions. I think everybody's coming to fair, rational conclusions, and I think people are pretty correct in those conclusions. But anyways, Sam Frank did go on to respond on Twitter saying, "This is getting out of hand. No one cheated. Why is everyone so thirsty for fake narrative clicks? I was back from my trip before he was even in the hospital. You guys have no idea what happened. That wasn't the timeline at all. Please stop harassing him to the point where he wants to end stream by spamming assumptions. It was a private matter someone went out of their way to find and leak. Yes, I accidentally leaked that, but it's... Wait. Yes, I accidentally leaked that. It was a private matter that someone went out of their way to find and leak. Those two things don't line up with each other at all. Just take accountability for the fact that you fucked up. You leaked this shit. That's your fault. That's nobody else's fault. You can't just like skirt the blame onto somebody else. Anyway, yes, I accidentally leaked that, but it's not fair for you guys to twist a small part of the conversation. He didn't have to address anything and y'all overanalyzed and dragged it as usual. I love Mikhail. What the fuck is... How do you even say that? I love Mikhail. I care too much about him to let this go on. Please stop." And the funny thing about this response is that she's acting like the only people analyzing this situation, or overanalyzing it as she says, is the audience, like the onlookers online. But as we can see in the text between her and Neon, he quite clearly has an issue with the situation at hand. I totally understand wanting to keep private matters in your relationship like behind closed doors and not in the public eye, but the way this comes off is that she's trying to gaslight not only the audience about the trip that took place, but also Neon as well. Because if this really was something that she wanted to just kind of keep behind closed doors and handle within the relationship, and you know, she'd be honest about that. She wouldn't be acting still like she did nothing wrong. The least she could do is own up to the fact in an authentic manner that she did do something wrong in going on that trip, regardless of whether something happened, regardless of whether all 4 or 5 dudes there were actually gay and just like men. It's not that. It's the implications. It's the principle. Why would you put your partner, the person you say you care about, the person you say you love so much, you love Mikhail, right? Why would you put him in that situation and make him feel like that? And like I said, it's not just the audience, it's not just the onlookers online that have an issue with this. It's not just a bunch of people virtue signaling like quite often it realistically usually is. Neon has an issue with everything as well. I just wanted to highlight that because she's acting like nobody should have an issue with this, like she did nothing wrong. And to be honest with you, I think this is a very natural like progression for young women nowadays. They kind of have to experience these sorts of things to see where they're going wrong. Just the same way that, you know, young men need to experience a lot of things on the opposite end of the spectrum as well to actually see how to do better. But it's not like it's not worth criticizing, you know what I mean? Because I think this kind of behavior is incredibly shady, super toxic, and very detrimental at the end of the day. Not only to the young men involved in the situations, but look 10-15 years down the line and see how these young women are doing. All of y'all need to be doing better, man. I'm sorry to say it to Neon and to also any other young men watching this video that may be in a similar situation. If you were able to look at your situation and compare it to the situation we've talked about in today's video whatsoever, she probably fucked another dude. I'm sorry to say it, but it's probably what happened. And my assumption would be similar with the situation with Sam Frank that we've been talking about so far today. But that's okay, because it's not over for you, bro. This is a learning lesson. It's an opportunity. Stop being a fucking idiot. Stop taking these girls that don't give a fuck about you. These girls that have weird, warped perceptions on what healthy relationships actually look like and really just see you as a placeholder boyfriend. Do better. Find purpose in your own life. Find something that drives you in your own realm. My point in this little tangent wasn't that all women cheat. However, I will say from, you know, the arguing perspective, the opposing perspective, most young men have a story of having been cheated on. Now, at this point of the video, if you still stuck around, you're probably kind of sitting there with your jaw on the floor. Oh my god, I can't believe he'd say that. Such misogyny. But when you really analyze the last 2 or 3 minutes of what I've been talking about, it's me calling out young men and not having fucking standards. Fellas like Neon that didn't get enough maternal care growing up. Is that on par? Anyways, man, I'm sure some more will be coming out about this situation and about Neon in general over the next couple of days, couple of weeks. I'm always looking for an excuse to get a little bit more consistent with the channel, so I'm sure we'll be covering that. If you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, consider subscribing if you are new around here, of course, as always. And with all that out of the way, I'm out of here. Peace.